Caution, you are about to enter the no spin zone, and the factor begins right now. Hi, I'm Laura Ingraham in for Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. Lapdogs, not attack dogs. That describes the press, and that is a subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. Every year, the president, the press, and a smattering of Hollywood types, they get together and they yuck it up at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. They tell jokes, they clink glasses, and now they pose for selfies. What used to be a one-night affair, though, has turned into 3 days of nonstop cocktail parties, dinners, and brunches. I've attended these dinners. For the most part, they're overcrowded, overhyped, and now I think they should be over with. After all, what are they really celebrating at this point? The fact that they have missed or underreported some of the biggest stories of the past 10 years? China is about to overtake our economy. America is in decline. The Benghazi cover-up. The IRS used as a political weapon. That's just to name a few. Correspondents and the president, whether Republican or Democrat, really shouldn't be buddy-buddy. Reporters should be checking government power, not cheerleaders for one party or one point of view. And by the way, I really think President Obama would have been better off, too, if he had been forced to rise to the challenge of an aggressive press. Instead, he was insulated by his media fan club until the total Obamacare meltdown, that is. Where were all the questions about Obamacare before last fall? Why didn't they push for Sebelius to be replaced early on? And why didn't they demand answers on the foot-dragging investigation into Benghazi? The fact is, for the past 6 years, most in the press have been in party mode, drunk on its abiding love for the Obamas. But now the country is forced to suffer through the big hangover. And that's the memo. Now on to the top story. The Benghazi investigation expanding, and Democrats are running for the hills. Today, Speaker John Boehner named Trey Gowdy, a Republican congressman from South Carolina, the head of a House Select Committee to investigate the Benghazi attacks. Before Gowdy was even named, Democrats were refusing to participate.
I think it's a colossal waste of time. We've had 4 bipartisan investigations of this already. I don't think it makes sense, really, for Democrats to participate.
But the release of the new Benghazi memos last week shows just how many unanswered questions still remain. But even so, Democrats keep trying to turn the tables on anyone looking for answers, including me.
There's a very loud, delusional minority that's driving our politics, that's in control of the Republican Party. There's no conspiracy here at all. What is happening here, and it's stoked by the talk radio personalities and Fox News, is this alternative reality. It's an amazing thing. It is an amazing thing to see.
You're masters at this. It's Fox News' fault. And today, White House spokesman Jake Carney said President Obama was first alerted to the Benghazi attack while meeting with then Defense Secretary Leon Panetta in the Oval Office. And then he went on to imply that the question of whether the president was monitoring events through the night was silly.
This is a conspiracy theory in search of a conspiracy, and it is has clearly been that for so long now that I've lost track of the number of conspiracies that have fallen flat.
Joining us now from Santa Fe, New Mexico, the state's former Democratic governor, Bill Richardson, a former U.S. ambassador to the UN, energy secretary, and great to see you, Governor. So there you have it. I mean, I guess I'm delusional. Everyone's trying to peddle conspiracy theories. But look, you've been in the hot seat before in government. Is this a legitimate inquiry, given all those documents that were released after the initial request last summer?
Well, Laura, I do think there's partisanship here. It's a bit of a witch hunt. But, you know, the Congress has an investigatory responsibility. Select committees are the prerogative of the party in power. Where I would disagree with my Democratic friends is we should participate. It's usually 6 and 6, 6 Democrats, 6 Republicans. This is going to be an inquiry that's going to last a year. I don't think there's any smoking gun. You know, that last memo was a little bit confusing to me because I had been supportive of the administration. I still am, that there is no conspiracy here. There was some problems of security, follow-up.
But Governor, they sold this narrative that I know you're familiar with now. for weeks after their own State Department. I'm sure you heard about that Beth Jones memo that from 9:45 a.m. the following morning on September 12th, she was referring to Ansar al-Sharia, al-Qaeda, no mention of video protests. It was understood at the time this was a terror attack. Yet they continued to peddle that narrative, and they held those documents back, which I think, again, if this were the Bush administration, the same kind of narrative, I just think, you know, all these same people crying conspiracy would say we need accountability here.
Well, I do think at the same time, Ambassador Pickering, a very respected diplomat, did an inquiry that I read thoroughly. And basically, I think the administration made some mistakes in terms of beefing up security, of perhaps not responding faster. But at the same time, I don't see a conspiracy. This has obviously become a very political issue. You know, it keeps coming back. I do think it is a bit of a witch hunt.
What about when you say witch hunt? But that's demeaning, Governor. When you say witch hunt, we have 4 dead Americans. We have the utter humiliation and tragedy of a U.S. ambassador. You were the UN ambassador. We have a U.S. ambassador murdered in cold blood. We have no one in custody, and we had an administration that immediately went political in the hours in the aftermath of these brutal murders of Americans. That's a national humiliation that would occur. Beyond all the narrative about the protests, we don't even have anyone in custody, for goodness sakes.
Well, but there was disciplinary action taken against several State Department officials. There was a statement saying that security was a problem.
Nobody was fired. Nobody's ever fired, except Kathleen Sebelius was pushed out, right?
They were moved out. They were moved out. But I do think, Laura, that while it's a legitimate function of the Congress, and I think Democrats should participate, it's going to be viewed as an attack on Secretary Clinton. It's going to be helpful to her.
Well, do you think she has any responsibility here? I mean, you didn't endorse her in 2008. I remember that controversy when you wouldn't endorse her because you didn't think she was the right person at the time for the job.
I endorsed President Obama, and I stand by that. But I don't think she was involved in any conspiracy. I think she was very candid. But let's see what this Select Committee produces. I have my doubts. I don't think there's a smoking gun. I think it's going to be an advantage to the Democrats.
Well, there might not be.
I hope the Democrats do participate, though.
Hey, Governor, you said back in 2007 when you were thinking about running, throwing your hat in the presidential race, you said we needed a president with experience, right? Someone to start the healing at home and abroad. Now looking back on Barack Obama over the last 6 years, do you think he was the president with experience and the healing has taken place at home and abroad?
I think he really has restored America's strength abroad. I think he's been a good foreign policy president. These are very difficult times, there's no question. But he has tried in the Middle East. He's tried in Ukraine. He's doing his best. These are very difficult times for America abroad.
Governor Richardson, thank you so much. And next on the rundown, Fox's Brit Hume confronts a former Democratic congresswoman over the White House's false Benghazi talking points. Brit will be here right after this.